And Cruce Salus, the window over the main entrance of the church, and your order of service with the diocesan shield has our diocesan motto, and Cruce Salus. And the cross, there is salvation. Jesus knew that he had come into this life to be our salvation. And he knew from so many things, including our first reading from the prophet Isaiah, written some 550 years before the Christ was born. Isaiah wrote of a suffering servant. For ours were the sufferings he bore, ours the sorrows he carried. We thought of him as someone punished, struck by God and brought low. Yet he was pierced through for our faults, crushed for our sins. On him lies a punishment that brings us peace. And through his wounds we are healed. It's quite incredible, isn't it? 550 years before the birth of the Christ, here is Isaiah writing way into the future about a suffering servant who will bring us salvation. With the readings and the prayers today, every now and then there's a glimpse of hope. And for Isaiah, at the end of his account of the suffering servant, he writes, his soul's anguish over, he shall see the light and be content. By his sufferings shall my servant justify many, taking their faults on himself. It's a glimpse of the Lord's resurrection. When Jesus dies on the cross, it's not of the finger accusing us of our faults or failing. No, his hands are stretched out to us in love. For that is the gift of salvation. It's the offering of self. This is my body that's given for you. And Jesus invites us to respond in like fashion. We, in our own way, and with our own frailties and faults, our struggles, our doubts, our fears, we too are invited to say, and Lord, in turn, this is my body that is given for you, that's given for your people in love after your example. You see, salvation is not just our work, it's God's work, Jesus' work. He invites us to be participants in his work of salvation. Every time we celebrate Eucharist, there's a little prayer. Pray, brothers and sisters, that my sacrifice and yours may be acceptable to the Lord our God. My sacrifice and yours. As priest, when I say that, I'm talking not about my own sacrifice. I'm talking about the sacrifice of Christ that as his priest I offer. But he invites us to join our sacrifices with his. You parents that stay up with a sick child through the night. You parents that are worried about your teenage children. You spouses that suffer with your spouse when they might be dying of cancer. All those offerings, all those sufferings that we endure, we offer them with his, so that we might be changed and come to understand the mystery of his life and his love and the great mystery of life. And we have the perfect example up here on the right-hand transept of the cathedral. It's possibly a scene that we never really notice as we come up to communion. But it's the scene of Mary, the mother of Jesus, of John, and of Mary Magdalene at the foot of the cross. I think of Mary as she sees her son suffer and die. And she does it in silence. It's as if she's saying, "This is my body, or the fruit of my body, that I offer back to you, Father, for the salvation of the world." Salvation is about love. And we're called to be people who give of ourselves in love so that our world might be better. When we started our gospel reading tonight, this afternoon, we started with Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, where Judas was about to betray him. And the shadow of his cross was hanging heavily over Jesus. In my lifetime, as never before, the shadow of the cross hangs over our world, where powerful men, not the Caiaphases or the Pilates, but the Putins, the Trumps, the Netanyahus, that fire missiles and are indifferent to people and the suffering of people. Never before in my lifetime have I been more afraid for our world than I am now. Some of you a bit older than me might remember the Cuban Missile Crisis, the mid-1960s. But today, the powers of the world are wanting to destroy. But the power of the cross is weakness. It is humility. It is self-offering. It is love. And it longs for peace. The Pilates and the high priests found Jesus guilty, and they cried, "Crucify him." So often, so many decisions in our world are indifferent to the sufferings of others, and their decisions inflict suffering. But we are the people of hope. We believe that salvation and peace can come through the power of love. And that's what we celebrate today. The triumph of love over sin and death. In the cross, there is salvation. But the question is, will we be bearers of that salvation? Will we take up our cross and be faithful to Christ and follow him? It's what we heard in the second reading today. Since in Jesus, the Son of God, we have the supreme high priest who has gone through to the highest heaven, we must never let go of the faith that we have professed. We must never let go. For our God is the faithful God who saves. And in the cross of Calvary, which we remember today, the sins of all the world have been forgiven. And we can live in hope that our sins will be forgiven as well. But on this great mysterious journey of life, we too have to suffer. But even more, we have to love. In Cruce Salus, and the cross salvation, may we be true people of the cross who stretch out our hands in love to all those around us in need.